به نام خدا سلام عرض
In the
می‌کنم.
name of
این مهمان
God.
عزیز
Hello, dear
همکار
viewers,
گرامی
esteemed
ارجمند
friends,
عزیز
ladies and
همه
gentlemen.
زندگی
First,
کوچک
let me give a very special thanks for all the kindness you've shown. Some of you are truly generous people, sending such positive energy and creating so much excitement that makes me want to keep going on this path. On behalf of myself and all my colleagues, I wholeheartedly thank you for all your support and the kindness you've shown. I know many of you might not share the same views, beliefs, or worldview as me, and maybe we're not on the same wavelength or in the same story, but still, you're kind and generous, and your critiques are always thoughtful, so I learn a lot from them and really benefit. I felt it was only right to start this video by thanking you. But the topic of this session is different, and I think you'll find it really interesting. You've probably heard things like, so-and-so is a genuine person, or they're a person of integrity. Being genuine is often seen as a major positive trait. For example, when someone is about to get married, they're usually advised to try to marry a genuine person. So what does it mean to be genuine? Who is a genuine person? That's the main topic of this video. So are there any signs? There are some indicators and I'll explain them. Maybe all of us, including you, want to see how genuine or authentic we really are based on these signs. Is being authentic about who your dad is, how much money you have, how wealthy you are, whether you own a factory or not? Or is an authentic person someone who dresses really stylishly, like gentlemen who are very classy, or ladies who wear high-end brands, all neat and perfectly ironed? Are those the authentic people, or are authentic people the ones who host lots of gatherings, have frequent visitors, and when you visit their home, it's grand and luxurious? There are people who act like they're on a whole other level. They say, we married into a genuine family, our families are pure, our relatives are real. But is that really what being genuine means? Like if someone went to the best university in the world, or a really prestigious one, got a PhD or a master's or a bachelor's, just because they're educated or got good grades, does that make them genuine? We need to stretch our minds a bit and rethink these terms so we don't end up putting people on a pedestal when they don't really deserve it, or calling someone genuine just based on the wrong definitions. We shouldn't ignore people or treat them unfairly. I want to start by defining what authenticity really means, and this definition is totally scientific. So, who is an authentic person? Drawing from both perspectives I'm about to talk about, authentic people are those who live in complete harmony with their true nature. They're genuine through and through. Authentic people don't blindly copy others. They're not out there trying to live like someone else, like, oh, how does that person live? I want to be just like them. They don't buy the same jewelry or use the same cologne just because someone else does. They're not chasing whatever's trendy this year, wondering, what's the popular color? What's in style? I gotta have that too. I'll just wear the same outfit. Genuine people aren't like that. For real people, where they live doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're from Iran, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, America, Africa, or Europe. Borders don't define their authenticity. Real people live according to their inner truth. There are lots of people whose whole pride comes from being so-and-so's son or daughter, or the son-in-law or daughter-in-law of some family. Genuine people aren't like that at all. In fact, if you see someone acting like that, it's a clear sign. A genuine person isn't someone who relies on others' approval. Real people don't need others to define them. In fact, genuine people create a sense of pride and respect in others. They live in a way that makes people proud to say, that's my son-in-law, or that's my daughter-in-law, or that's my family. This is how I casually define a genuine person, especially from modern perspectives like existential philosophy, which focuses on human authenticity. Those familiar with Heidegger's or Jean-Paul Sartre's views understand what kind of thinking and perspective I mean. It's similar in existential psychology too. When we look at the views of Erich Fromm, or people like Viktor Frankl or Carl Rogers, and study their perspectives, we get familiar with their ideas and see that they all have a unique take on what it means to be an authentic human being. Basically, they believe that authenticity and a true life come from within the person. Now, when we bring this idea into religious or spiritual frameworks and look at the concept of the authentic human from that angle, in Islamic mysticism, an authentic person is basically someone who has reached the nafs al-mutma'inna, that is, someone who is on the path of devotion and self-awareness. The truth is, a real person is someone who's genuine. It doesn't matter if they're rich or poor, live in the fancy part of town or the rough neighborhood, or all those childish labels that usually come from people who've just come into money. Those folks who think too highly of themselves, believe they're genetically superior, or that they're somehow different from others, they actually don't get it. They're not real people at all. Now, I want to share a few points here that can help us understand ourselves better and see how genuine we really are. Are we seen as genuine people or not? And can we, when we meet others, tell if they're authentic or not? Look, friends, there are a few key traits that really stand out in genuine people. The first one is self-awareness. A genuine person knows themselves. They understand how they feel, what they think, and what their values are. Some people don't really know what their life values are, and because they don't know them, unfortunately, they sometimes live in ways that go against those values. The high values a true person lives by. You see, he acts in a way that's really off-putting. The way he talks isn't fitting for someone dignified, humble, polite, and composed. A person who knows their own worth doesn't just say whatever comes to mind. They don't use just any word or bad language. Their behavior is steady. They're not impatient or quick to judge. This comes from self-awareness. When I understand myself, I can see my weaknesses and my strengths. My strengths become my values. So, I take care to protect my values from harm, to safeguard what I have and my resources, and I recognize my weaknesses and try to manage them. I strengthen them using the same techniques I'll explain later. So, this is one of the traits of genuine people. Genuine people spend a lot of time on self-awareness and take it seriously. The second trait of genuine people is honesty. Unfortunately, by this standard, we realize there are a lot of fake people out there who are basically selling us lies. We thought they were genuine, but after dealing with them, you realize they have no authenticity at all. They're not decent people. They've lied so much, deceived so many times, been so hypocritical, twisted things around, cared only about their own gain. He's been willing to trade even his honor for just about anything. Honesty is one of the most outstanding and highest qualities of a genuine person. A real person is the same inside and out. They don't play tricks. They don't wear masks. It's not like they act one way in front of the camera and another way behind it. A lot of those people who come on camera saying all these beautiful things and calling for kindness and ethics, if you just take the camera away and go to their home, you'll see if their life matches that image. And usually, there's a big gap. I've seen so many people like that. People I once thought were really a genuine person is someone with integrity. When you dig beneath the surface, it can be pretty unsettling to see how much they can despise what's wrong. One key trait of authentic people is that they take responsibility. They own up to their actions. If they mess up, they apologize without hesitation. They don't make excuses or lie. Imagine someone in charge of an office who makes a mistake or screws up. If they're a person of integrity, they'll honestly say, "I messed up, I'm sorry." They'll ask people to forgive them and admit their fault sincerely. But a person who isn't genuine will use any trick or lie to wash their hands of things, just to keep their position and protect their own interests. People like that aren't authentic at all. They're basically fair-weather folks. Like I mentioned earlier, an honest person, if they don't know something, won't make excuses. They'll just admit, "I don't know," or "I'm not sure." They take responsibility and say, "I was wrong, sorry. That was my decision, and I messed up." Sometimes in families, a dad might make a mistake but refuses to admit it, coming up with all kinds of excuses to avoid owning up to his fault. Real people don't blame others or make excuses. Another key trait is humility, genuine folks, because they know themselves, understand their own values. They know how rich they are inside. They know how much knowledge they have. They know how much they understand. They know what their inner strengths are, but they don't go around bragging about it. They don't talk loudly about themselves or act all high and mighty. They're humble. You've probably seen some people who loudly announce, "Hey, I'm a full professor at such and such university," or "Yeah, I studied at that place where not just anyone can get in." Real people say, "Even if your dad was a great scholar, what good is that to you?" They always remind themselves of this. They say, "Be humble, be modest, don't be proud or arrogant." When you see someone with a top social status who is a refined, wise, and understanding person, yet full of humility, know that they're genuine. If they're humble, it's not because they lack confidence or don't know how to make themselves heard. No, they know all that. But their true character won't let them sacrifice humility for pride. That's really important. You see some people who've, say, earned a degree. They got a fake PhD or bought one, or maybe they landed a job through connections, or because they were part of some party. People say that some folks' credentials come from shady sources. Sometimes these people end up here because they're basically empty inside, not genuine, and they try to boost their reputation by riding on others. They actually create these fancy titles for themselves, like professor, full professor, or advisor to so-and-so in such and such department. I'm not going to name names to avoid stirring up political drama. That's not my point. I just want us to be a bit more aware of this stuff, that's all. The truth is, but you don't admit it, because you're afraid of losing your followers. That shows you're not a genuine person. A real one pays attention to these things. Truth doesn't sacrifice itself for personal gain. It's after the truth, not just people's approval. Another trait of a genuine person is being thoughtful and rational. Genuine people don't make quick decisions. They don't react impulsively. They think about the meaning of their words, the consequences of their choices, and carefully weigh everything before making a wise decision. The people you see rushing, eager to get things done fast, well, the fact that something might get cut off prematurely and left unfinished shows these people aren't very genuine. Another trait of genuine people is that while they're firm, they're also kind friends. Not harsh, but kind. They're decisive, but they don't change their minds on a whim or just because of a casual conversation. Of course, changing your mind isn't a bad thing. People should always seek the truth. If I realize I was wrong about something, I should change my opinion. Saying "I am who I am" or "a man's word is final" actually shows a lack of wisdom. No, what I mean by being authoritative in decision-making is, what I mean by being assertive is that if you need to say no, you say no respectfully, politely, and with good manners. The answer is negative, but it's given politely, with kindness, and even a smile. That shows a mature person. And finally, the last trait I want to mention here is really interesting, dear friends. Genuine people have inner peace. Their hearts are truly touched by God, spirituality, and love for the divine. Basically, a person who is in love is calm. Not the superficial kind of love, but true love. One of the traits of genuine people is that in their behavior and way of life, you can really see it. When you talk or hang out with them, you can feel the calmness, not just inside themselves, but that wave of peace and positive energy can rub off on you too. They're people of silence, prayer, mindfulness, and deep thought. I've made a detailed video about silence before. If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend you check it out. I'm sure it'll be helpful for you. Just to clarify, because I noticed some people misunderstood, the silence I'm talking about is a kind of insightful silence, not like staying quiet when someone's wronged me or insulted me. Should I stay silent? If I've been wronged or oppressed, should I just keep quiet? No, that's not the kind of silence I mean. This silence is a kind of wisdom. Genuine people have this calmness, serenity, dignity, and a quiet strength both inside and in how they act. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Please make sure to like it. Really, both like and comment. Some friends just like without commenting, some comment without liking, and some don't do either. But the ones who do get the most out of it. If I may ask, please pay attention to this. It really helps. I really appreciate you being there through all of this. Sincerely, Amir Mehrdad Khosravi.
از اینکه شما در این اتفاق همراه هستید ممنونتون هستم. ارادتمند شما، امیر مهرداد خسروی.